And Lou, I want to go to something that you were just talking about
Sure.
before we went live. Um,
Yeah.
you mentioned a few really beautiful points about gratitude.
Right. Yeah. Well, it's been such a huge. It continues to be a huge tool for me, my friend.
Mhm.
As we were saying, when you're, as Abraham says, when you're on the leading edge of thought, when you're out here on the ragged edge of
Mhm.
the dance between realities, between dimensions, when you have
Mhm.
a foot in each world, as my guides say,
Mhm.
then manifesting and being in our flow of abundance can be challenging at times.
Mm.
And so trust is an important energy, and intention, being conscious of what we're asking for is important. But also, as we were saying, my friend, gratitude is brilliant. There's a great quote from Neil Donald Walsh,
Oh,
who is one of my favorites. He
mm.
says, "The struggle ends when the gratitude begins."
Yeah.
And this is the challenge, is to try to raise ourselves above, the parapet, and not just get overwhelmed by the circumstances, the bills, the rent, whatever, and go, it's good, there's good here, I have things to be grateful for, and the more I'm grateful, the more things I will have to be grateful for. But it does take some inner discipline,
Yeah, it does. It does.
but it
Um,
feels good.
yeah. You mentioned you said one word that I'd like you to reiterate on. You said the word trust. And for
Right.
those that are not maybe familiar with the art of gratitude or why it's important, when you use the term trust, what does that relate to?
That's a great question, my friend. That's the heart of the matter. You're very good at getting to that. I noticed this in all your interviews. Fleur really digs down deep to the core of things. So my spirit guides say trust is everything,
Yeah.
and our life is based on who we trust, what we trust, how deeply we trust,
Mhm.
who and what is worthy of our trust, what happens when our trust is broken, how
Mhm.
we rebuild our trust. So trust is always going to begin within ourselves, and it is our own personal connection to the truth,
Mhm.
which is why, as you and I know, it's so important for people in the world right now to have some form of a spiritual practice where we can listen to, trust, and follow our inner guidance. That happens through going within. So
Mhm.
when we have that sense of, I know my truth, I know my connection to myself, I know myself in peace, when we have built that and we can sustain that, then when things get rocky or chaotic or confusing, we go, oh, okay, that's not what I want. And we can kind of take a step back from it. Whereas when we are with people that we love and feel comfortable with and we can open up to, like your good self here with me today, wonderful, then it's just like, okay, I can relax, I can be myself. And
Yeah.
that's what trust does, is it generates that energy of openness, of receptivity,
Mhm.
of healing, of love, all of those wonderful energies.
Yeah. And in relation to as well, when we're inundated or feeling bombarded by circumstances that are delivered to us in a brown paper bag,
Right,
as opposed to the the golden bright and shiny beautiful box with a red bow. It's
right.
trusting that that delivery is what we need, not what
Yeah,
we necessarily want, but it's what we
yeah,
need in that time, because there's always a hidden lesson or hidden message. And
right.
that lot, and being able to see that hidden message or hidden um, lesson is highly linked to clairvoyance and psychic mediumship as well. So it's having that ability to see clearly beyond what you're presented with, what is
Yeah,
happening there behind the scenes, or what is
yeah.
happening, what's the actual real circumstance or situation happening behind what it is that I'm seeing.
Yes, yes.
Mhm.
That's right. Well, you're describing it beautifully. I mean, this is it. Our heart knows what our mind struggles to believe.
Mhm.
So So but the default position of our consciousness when we're in our body walking around is basically in our mind. So, this is what the practice is to keep dropping down, taking a breath, slowing down, relaxing, tuning in, these kinds of energies. Then we're not pushing past our feelings. Recently, my guide said, this is connected to I like what you're saying about wanting versus needing. My guide said, here's the energy for right now, the message for right now. Face your fears, feel your feelings, and find your faith, or find your love, or find your peace, find what you're looking for. So when we face our fears, that's the mind. Confusion, anxiety, it didn't come the way I wanted, it's not happening the way I'd hoped, etc. Okay, that's sort of the surface of things, right? That's belief. Then I move down to the heart, which is understanding, which is, am I clear about my intention? Am I clear about my openness, my receptivity? Am I putting out what I want to receive? These kinds of energies. Am I in my integrity? Am I in my truth? Am I in my oneness with what I'm asking for? And then the meeting of those needs is knowing. I know all is well. I know this is coming in the perfect time, in the perfect way. Affirmation, prayer, journaling, any guided meditation, that clears the confusion once again, right? So that's how I work with it.
Yeah, definitely. And as you were talking then, it just came to me to be mindful that every time we're presented with a situation or circumstance, that there's something there for us to take every time.
Yes, exactly. That's called humility. Yeah, which is exactly as you said. I mean, the indigenous people of the world, we were just mentioning our friend Jonathan and the Aboriginals and all of that. The indigenous people of the world are brilliant at humility because they live so close to the earth. They're not in their heads. They're not in their egos. They're really in this vibration of oneness. And the earth is all about harmony and balance. So it's, as you say, it's trusting that what is showing up is there for a reason. So the meeting of our needs, that's our work every day as human beings. And our needs are safety, love, and support. So when we give thanks for the meeting of our needs, this is like the Lord's Prayer, the daily bread and all of this kind of thing, our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thank you for my daily bread, all of that we all grew up with. So we're saying, thank you for the meeting of my needs, and that's keeping me humble. And then whatever else is added unto that, that's grace. So sometimes it is in the shiny wrapper and it's not just in the plain brown bag. But as long as we're meeting our needs, we're doing the minimum requirement of taking care of ourselves. The happiness, the joy, the freedom, the love that we're all seeking, relationship, is, can I allow more of my desires to be fulfilled as well as my needs to be met? And that's what the universe is always calling all of us to experience. But in order to, of course, receive more, we need to find ways to give more and to believe more consciously. So my guides say humility and power go together. So when we're Lazarus says the meeting of our needs is our happiness and the fulfillment of our desires is joy. So that's that we can actually move consciously between happiness and joy rather than hope and despair. So 3D is more hope and despair, 5D is more happiness and joy.
Yeah. And you mentioned or used some really good words then that I want to go into when you talked about receiving, because when we have an abundant mindset, so when I say that, obviously we're playing above the line. So we have a line and we either play above it or below it. And when we're playing above the line and happy to give, the extent of our giveness as well also vibrationally allows us to receive, but we have to be in that open space to do so. If we don't believe that we're worthy of receiving, guess how much we're going to get?
Not much. Right. Yes. Well, that's a great thing to focus on. Um, when we love ourselves, when we are grateful for our lives, when we ask for opportunities to be of loving service to our brothers and sisters and to Mother Earth, then we're getting out of our own way. And we're saying, use me this day for your divine and joyous purpose. That's one of my favorite affirmations. And when I remember to say that, and when I put my heart into it, and I'm grateful in advance that this is so, then, wonderful surprises can come along. So the whole question of worth, of valuing ourselves, one of my favorite channels is a chap named Paul Selig, Selig, from the States. And he has a book called Knowing and Worth. I have it here on my table. And it's whatever bar we set for ourselves, to come back to your point, it's a great one, that's what we will accept. And the universe is saying, you tell me who you believe you are, you tell me what you believe your gifts are worth, and I will fill your beliefs, right?
Yeah.
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 So it's, the question from my guides, which everyone laughs about, me too, is it's very simple. How good can you stand it?
Yeah.
Can you allow more? Can you believe that you're worth more, etc.? Can you believe you can give more? All of
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Do you believe that you have something valuable to share? Do you believe that you
Right.
have something valuable to offer?
Right.
Are you generous in creating a harmonious space when the time arises?
Right. Right. Right.
It's interesting. For some reason, it's just coming through to me as
Yeah.
an example. If we're going to just use practical examples, um, it's like the person that wants to split the bill dead down the line to the very second cent,
Right.
right?
Right. Control.
You
Control.
had one more glass of wine than what I
Right.
did. So why should I go halves? Which is playing below the line, because when you're concerned about something like $1, $1.50, $5, whatever it is, what you're telling the universe is, or what you're telling spirit is, there's not enough.
Right.
I do not
Right.
have a generous gene,
Right.
and that the
Right.
little things are big things,
Right.
and
Right.
there's no more of where that came from.
All of
There's
that.
not enough.
Yeah. Yeah. It's not so cute. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And I
Right.
mean, and I don't say that obviously in a judgmental sense at all, but it's just as an example
Sure.
um, when we're being so, what is the
Controlling.
word?
Well, controlling.
Mm.
Yeah. I mean, it's fearful. Of course it is. Yeah. And we can all get to that place, and everyone has good reasons for being
Mm.
afraid and being controlling and not being generous and not being trusting. But you and I just feel, so blessed that we are called in this direction by spirit in this profound and powerful way. So spirit keeps saying, to me, Lou, if you'll cooperate with us, we'll open the door for you. But
Mm.
you will not open every door that you need to get opened. You have to learn that you are not alone, that spirit is there, that we care about your happiness, and we actually have the bigger picture, whereas you are only just seeing one little thing at a time.
Mm.
Yeah. So again, trusting, humility, gratitude, generosity. Like, it's wonderful if you're with a friend and you can say, let me pick up the bill today.
Mm.
Great. Then I guess I live in a universe where there's enough, you
Mm.
know?
Yeah. The flip side to that too, as well, Lou, which is a beautiful thing, and that's a wonderful thing. Actually, this is, oh my God, there's a lot of information coming through actually. Then into that,
Okay.
but
Yeah.
um, that act of generosity obviously is going to generate more abundance, because cellularly that there's more of what that came from. Now, if you happen to be playing below the line, and that's okay, we fall down there from time to
Sure.
time. We're human, we're human. And there's no judgment in that. But if you're always willing to take, but never mindful to give back,
Right, right.
you're also telling the universe that you come from a place of scarcity. So what we do,
Sure.
you know, and a lot
Yeah.
of us are not conscious of what we're actually doing, because it's in the art of doing that sends that vibration of who
Yes.
we're declaring we are as well.
That's right. That's right. Another favorite quote of mine is, you don't get what you want, you get what you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And then hopefully, as we're learning this together and all of us are studying the law of attraction and all these wonderful teachings, again, Abraham says we just have one answer to every question, which is, how do you feel about it? Because whatever you're feeling, do you feel good about treating your friend to lunch or dividing the bill? Does that feel good to you? Or, worrying about every penny in your pocket or where the next euro is coming from? Does that feel good? Or, is it easier to go, well, it's worked out so far. I'm still here today. I've gone through this process a million times in my little life and it's still working out. Perspective is everything. And you can even feel like, as we're talking about it, as I'm saying it, I feel my heart open up when I'm grateful and appreciative and thankful and loving and all of those wonderful energies. See, this is what relationship is. Life is a mirror for us to see our reflection, what we are in alignment with and what we're out of alignment with, and that's what we get in our loving relationships, in our work relationships, in our relationship to everything, our body, our health. It's just one relationship after another that is reflecting back to us, what do you believe about this aspect of yourself? And if we're in alignment, it feels good and it works out better than we can imagine possible. As you say, when all of us will get turned inside out and upside down from time to time, we will forget, we will deny, we will control, we will cease trusting. And then, our screen becomes very small. And it's just about this one little crisis that we're trying to solve all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I hope that makes sense. It's practicing the principles, but really with the connection and commitment of our heart and our full self. It's giving ourselves to those principles as consciously and as often as we can.
Yeah. I love this saying, and I had a friend share this with me today. When you leap, the net will appear.
Right. That's trust.
Yeah.
That's trust. Yeah.
At its finest.
Yes. Well, I'm not sure it's at its finest, but sometimes it's a bit sloppy and messy and terrible, but it still is some form of trust. I mean, I've jumped off the cliff to prove that I can fly many times, and I don't necessarily recommend it as the only way to learn how to fly.
Yeah.
But what is great is, as we're saying here, my friend, yes, the universe does have our back. Everything is always working out for us. Source does love us and has made us for fun and for happiness and for joy and for freedom. And the more we listen to, trust, and follow that, the more our mind and our outer world begin to be a reflection of that. And then there's a really conscious dance that begins to happen, a conversation with God in every aspect of our life, where we're like, okay, am I in alignment with my truth about this? Or am I getting a bit fuzzy? Am I getting a bit, wobbly, as we say, wibbly wobbly? So, it's just being as honest with ourselves as we can. And of course, the other gift is what you and I get to do with people in our work and in our sessions and readings and all of that is, as you've been sharing here today, spirit comes through us as we learn to get out of our own way and to share a message with other people. And we hear things that we need to personally hear as well. We go, oh, that's a good idea. I should do that myself. Thank you. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are great moments when we hear that wisdom that is also good for us. So my point is, and you get this, I know entirely, because you're living this as well. Spirit is always giving to all of us based on our willingness and ability to believe and to receive. And so if we can go, I know I'm worthy. I know I'm here for a good purpose. I want to be of good use to the world. Thank you for helping me. I love my life. You know, these are the kinds of affirmations I'm saying more frequently and more enthusiastically, and going, okay, yay, problem solved.
You also said another very profound word as well, which is conversation. And every circumstance and situation, whether we perceive as positive or negative, is the universe's opportunity to have a dialogue, an open dialogue with us. So every time we're faced with something, it's a matter of turning and trusting and turning to spirit and saying, what are you talking to me about?
That's right. That's right.
That you're telling me. Or what is it that I'm not seeing or listening right now, because I'm inundated with the stress, the internal dialogue, the chatter, the noise, which then sparks, you know, an array of different emotions, which can be anxiety, depression, etc., etc. And we can get so overwhelmed with these things that it's hard to listen to what's being said.
Absolutely. 100%, my friend. You said it beautifully. So the way my guides have been teaching me is that to listen to, trust, and follow our loving inner guidance, we need to go into peace as often and as deeply as possible. And as I said, for with my practice, they say meditation, affirmation, and keeping a journal. So that gives me more conscious access to my inner self every day. And as I work with those tools, it's part of why I do the morning prayers that I do 5 days a week. You know, it's to keep me sane as much as it's to help anyone else, because I need it as much as I want to offer it to everyone else as well. But when I come to peace, then I have what my guides call a space for grace. And then I can be discerning and discriminating about my own or the world's drama. Because you're quite right. When we're in the drama, that's when we need that guidance the most, it suddenly appears least available, because we've now lost ourselves in the outer circumstance, or in the conflict in our mind. So the message for me and for all of us is to keep finding some way back to peace. 3 deep breaths, a prayer, music, whatever. And when you come to peace and can sustain that peace, then inspiration and solution and the new energy, new beginnings will find you. But there has to be that letting go of the confusion, the chaos. Abraham says the question and the answer are on 2 different vibrations. The need and the solution are on 2 different vibrations. So it's just being aware of which vibration am I on. If I'm in my crazy mind, like you just described, la 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 la, there isn't enough, I'm not enough, oh my God, freak out, yeah, okay, that's not, there's a solution to this, and it's coming to me in the perfect time, in the perfect way. This or something better is now manifesting as my experience. I've said to people, and I've experienced it myself many times, if you're in a full-blown crisis, just start saying thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, over and over and over again. You can say thank you, God, if you like, be my guest. But by saying, like in the Ho'oponopono, I'm sorry, I love you, please forgive me, thank you, right? This is the Hawaiian method of clearing the mind. When I work with the inner child, we go, I love myself, I accept myself, I forgive myself, I set myself free. So anything that just slows it down and brings me back to all is well, all will be well, that lets that go. And so the manifestation happens when I'm more in alignment with peace and trusting and inspiration and gratitude. Boom, then it can drop into my experience.
Yeah. And it's at those critical points where it's so imperative to then just start searching for the things that you are grateful for.
Yeah, including being alive, having a body, you know, taking a breath,
having a bed.
Yeah, having a bed, food on your plate, clothes on your back, water to drink and to shower with, things that millions of people do not take for granted. And we're just busy complaining because we don't have enough this and there isn't enough that. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very humbling once again.
It's so easy for us to go to that place. We all do. Many of us, on many occasions.
Sure, sure. My guides say you get good at what you practice.
Mm, mm,
Yeah. So then as we're becoming more conscious, and hopefully everyone hearing this is really feeling the truth of this in their hearts, that it's not complicated. To consciously create a loving reality is profoundly simple. It's stupidly simple, but it requires practice, patience, practice, persistence. It requires which side of the fence am I standing on right now? Is what I'm generating and what I'm feeling and what I'm open to, is that what I want more of? Or am I over here struggling, worrying, fearing, which I want less of?
Yeah. And it just keeps coming back. It keeps coming back to every life that I have, but it's within every crisis lies opportunity.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just a matter of perception.
Right. Right.
When we're delivered or faced with a circumstance that seems also that puts us in a state of, oh my God, what is happening? Why me? Where did this come from? How did this
Right.
happen? Where was I when this was happening? What have I been
Right.
doing to
Right.
manifest this? And that is
Yes.
also where we deceive ourselves, because we're very quick to cast judgment and assume that this is something that's bad. This is something that's negative. Yes, it does make us feel that way, but it's a matter of having the insight and clear seeing to see beyond the veil and have a look. Oh, there's the gift. This is why. Okay, all right.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
if anyone knows us better than we know ourselves, it's spirit.
That's right. That's
And
right.
spirit
Yeah.
also knows what our triggers are, what it takes to get us going, and what our buttons are too. So, for example, if you're someone who performs well under pressure, you will more often than not, you'll be pushed between a hard place and a rock every time, because then that's when the pocket rocket goes, and then it's when you actually get up and start making things happen. And spirit goes, "Hey, awesome, we got it going, yay!"
Right.
Because
Right.
what it's that co-creation, because spirit knows our vibration and what makes us tick and what
Right. Right.
Mm.
Right. No, this is so juicy. This is really good stuff you're tapping into, my friend. The question my guides have given me to work with, I completely agree with what you've just said, is what is this teaching me about love? And because, as you said, that's right, spirit is unconditional love and perfect peace, and it never wavers, and it never shifts its focus, and it never judges, and it never does all the human ego things that we think of as reality. It is the same today, tomorrow, and forever. And you're right that its will for us is always only good. And so that's the challenge of us being very honest with ourselves and in our relationships, and taking responsibility for where we're out of alignment or out of integrity, making amends, forgiving ourselves, asking for forgiveness, being forgiven, forgiving each other, and keeping coming back to love, keep coming back to love, beginning with ourselves. So there is no judgment from spirit. There is nothing held back from us. They're not trying to push us in some terrible direction where we have to face some catastrophe. They are just loving us 100%. But as you said, they know us completely. We have no secrets from spirit. There are no secrets in spirit. So the more that we grow and develop and heal and awaken and love and serve, the freer we become. This is another thing they've been teaching me. The more we grow spiritually, the greater our freedom. And so as we take responsibility and change our minds and make amends and forgive and be forgiven and do better and learn to do better, then life gets better. Life gets more joyous. Life gets more intimate. Life gets more full of opportunities, like this great gift you're giving me here today with you. Yeah. So it's just, we need to keep getting out of our own way is the simple truth of it.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And it's for example, you know, like just following on with what you're saying there as well about, for example, okay, if we want expansion, and let's say with whatever it is that we decide to do, so we make the decision, we've already put the order, we've already co-created with spirit, this is my soul purpose, this is what I'd like to do. There are going to be a series of circumstances that pop up as well, because if what it is that you want is expansion, then
right,
it's going to obviously give us whatever it needs to, whatever we need, so we can get
right. That's right. That's right. Right. Now I hear you. This is you're really clear on it, my friend, and me too. This is what wisdom is. Wisdom is living from the knowledge of our oneness with all of life, with love and respect. And everyone in the Western world, everyone on the planet has a shadow and has things that they don't want to look at, they don't want to deal with, they don't want to acknowledge, and they don't want to forgive. I'm completely convinced of this. And it's like, you know, yeah, I'll forgive all that, but I won't forgive this. You know, this is just wrong. And this is always going to be wrong. Or I've done this terrible thing and I'm just never going to get over it. You know, I'm always going to feel bad about, I should have, why didn't I, blah, blah, blah. So whether we're judging ourselves or whether we're being judged by others or whether we're feeling judged, what is this teaching me about love? How can I love this person more? How can I love myself more? How can I love life more? How can I love spirit more? How can I love the gifts that are coming into my life and use them more wisely, et cetera, et cetera. So there's always an opportunity. You're absolutely right. There's a gift in every crisis. There's a gift in every catastrophe. There is a gift in every challenge. My guides say you're invited, challenged, or required every day of your life to work with your spiritual gifts, to listen to, trust, and follow, or not, to resist, to deny, to control, to project, to addiction, obsession, compulsion, to try to escape. There is no escape. We'll save you time and trouble. There's no escape from yourself. You're going to be with you forever. So you might as well make peace with the beautiful, imperfect, perfect spiritual being that you are, and get on with it and start having more fun and less of dragging the past along with you.
Yeah, 100%. And it's an interesting, I love this conversation. I really do love it because it helps me. What I love about our conversations, Lou, is it reminds me of being back into my alignment as well. You know?
Thank you.
Thank you. And every single one of us from time to time falls off the bandwagon. You know?
Every day. Every day, baby. We will make mistakes every day.
Times a day.
Right. Yes, make many mistakes, my guides say. Have fun with your mistakes. You're going to make them. Today I'm going to make some big mistakes, and I hope I make some bigger ones tomorrow, so I can learn from my mistakes, so I can stop pretending that everything's perfect. I'm perfect. It's not reality.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that you use that word perfect or perfection, because there is, and as well, mistakes. That word has come up for me so much in the last 7 days. It's been ridiculous. It's been following me around everywhere. And it's interesting how much people are so afraid of making mistakes, and so afraid of failing, that if you want expansion, if you want to grow, if you want to evolve, and if you want to achieve the things that you want to achieve, you better make mistakes, and you better make them fast.
And
make many. And it is what it is, because when you make those mistakes, you gain so much more value, you evolve, you grow, and it's a stepping stone towards the expansion it is that you're looking for.
That's right. That's right. That's exactly right. I mean, originally, that's well said again, my friend. See, it's a joy for me to chat with you always, because you also have a lot of wisdom in your soul, and you bring that into your life. And like myself, and anyone on this path who feels this calling, that spirituality is our most important focus. Whatever anyone else understands about it, whatever anyone else calls it, it's really irrelevant. There is a spiritual awakening happening in our world, and we're blessed and honored and privileged to be any small part of it. But like you're saying, this is the quote from my guides: we all need to build a bridge and get over ourselves. Because we have this very fearful, controlling mind, body, ego, status, money, agenda of who we think we are and who we think we're supposed to be. And now I'm okay if I'm just this, and if I'm not that, then oh, maybe I'm not okay. And oh my God, you're seeing how not okay I am. And it's just madness. It's really a crazy way that most of us go through a lot of life. But the gift of crisis is that it forces us to get very real with what we believe and what is true for us. And honestly, you hear this in everyone's life who has grown through their challenges and their catastrophes. People say, well, this was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it forced me to get real with who I am and my relationship to spirit. And that's it. Whatever our lack or limitations or fears or doubts or worries are, if we will give them to our loving higher power for its purpose, it will help us to turn that poison into medicine, that lead into gold.
Yes, definitely. I loved that. That was great.
Thank you.
A lot of
it's fun. It's fun. This is what fun is. Fun is expansion. Humor is like the sudden realization that I'm holding on to some illusion that's not true, and I don't need to hold on to it any longer. Isn't it wonderful? I can let this nonsense go and be free, and that's the dance between the soul and the ego. The soul is going, you're as big as the sun, and the ego is going like, God, I hope I have enough money for the light bill, and it's like, get out of your own way. Let me come through you. Let me help you. Let me lift you up. And I had one client who had just a beautiful breakthrough she shared with me recently. This is happening a lot more these days, which is wonderful. And of course, there's this huge, she was connecting with her guides, and there's this huge emotional release that happens. And we don't know how much we're holding on until we let go. And I just read a poem in morning prayers this morning and also last night from a friend of mine. It's on my page, and I can share it with you here at some point. But it's called "She Let Go," and it's about basically the freedom that comes from just letting go, and letting spirit, letting our feelings, letting the truth come into our lives again. That's what we're all being asked to learn these days: is how to let go of crazy mind and come back into loving heart. And then spirit will move whatever blockage we've created out of our way, and we'll go, that's so easy. Yes, it's very easy, my friends, to get out of our own way. But we have to believe it's possible, we have to trust, and we have to stop controlling and pretending that we know everything.
Yeah. And it's the trust factor. That is a very important step towards being able to have that open dialogue.
Yeah. Well, this is what trust is. Trust is I tell you my truth, and if that resonates as true in your heart, then it aligns with your truth. And the longer we are able to, my guides say, the 4 steps of love here is safety, vulnerability, intimacy, and love. And we do that by aligning to deeper truths. These are my experiences. These are my beliefs. These are my feelings. These are my hopes and fears. This is me in my heart. This is the deepest part of me. And the more we share that with each other, the more we're trusting each other, the more we're worthy of each other's trust, and the more we can share everything that's there, you see.
Yeah.
Freedom.
And, it's interesting because spirit will initiate a conversation with us in so many different ways, and it will almost be like the same stuff over and over again, different places, different faces, same circumstances.
Sure.
Groundhog Day.
That's right. Exactly. Groundhog Day. Absolutely perfect. Yeah, because Groundhog Day is the great story. Everyone probably knows it, where he keeps reliving the same day over and over again until he actually stops being so selfish and self-obsessed and shallow and ego-driven, and he actually learns to love and serve and grow and teach, and he brings his soul and spirit into the reality, and then suddenly he's free again.
Mm-hmm.
That is absolutely one of the great stories of our time.
And we're not far from that. That actually happens, plays out in all of our lives. It may not be the same lesson for everyone. Everyone will experience, all of the above at some point throughout their timeline. But that's a part of the communication process too.
That's right. Well, you see, I mean, again, to come back to relationship, it's like, I've had many wonderful relationships in my life. I'm not in a relationship at the moment. Mm-hmm. And that has been a great gift for me, because it's allowed me, and the way I live my life and the way Spirit has supported me to live my life, is to have a lot of time and space for my own inner journey, so I can keep healing, and getting out of my own way, so that I can be a clear and open channel for other people. That's my deepest passion. But of course, like everyone, I want a loving and meaningful, deep, beautiful spiritual relationship with a partner. And I was thinking this earlier, I feel like relationship is like the big crisis on the planet. There's so many people that have so many relationships, and so few of them, honestly, are really fulfilling, to my mind, or deeply meaningful. And this whole spiritual crisis that is at work in everyone's inner life. So, until you have what my guides teach me, this is the ideal, that there be the partners, and then there be a sense of connection to your higher purpose in the relationship. And often, of course, love is that, or family is that, or a shared vision is that. But for a lot of us on this spiritual path, spirit itself, it needs to be that third, part of the pyramid. And so this is this time for me in my life, the last 10 years really has been about, working with this up here, and then getting ready for the next step on relationship, to bring more of this into the relationship. So we have to, we can only give what we have. This is the Course in Miracles. I can't give to someone else something that I'm unable to give to myself, or I don't believe that I'm worthy of myself. So for me, the spiritual journey has been healing that relationship with myself, which I'm happy to say is still in good order, and then trusting and giving thanks for that divine relationship to manifest in the outer world at the perfect time in the perfect way.
Yeah. And that was beautifully said, Lou. Thank you. And we are all a work in progress. And, all of us, we all are, We
never get done. We never get finished.
And especially when you dedicate your world to spirit too. It's like everything is a personal development course on steroids.
Right. Exactly.
It's just like, boom, okay, cool. You want to do soul work, you want to do life purpose work, you want to do spirit work, and it's always a very interesting journey. Lou, we've got a question for you.
Yeah.
From Zuzu, and he says, I have a tough time sometimes with getting in touch with my inner peace. What advice do you give me for becoming a bit more of a calm soul?
Beautiful. Well, this, I feel like we were saying earlier, this is really what gratitude is. As I said, when I'm in full flat out crisis, I just go, thank you. And that my guides say, everything is in threes with my guides for some reason. Soften, open, and deepen your connection to your heart, to your inner self. And so chaos, confusion, judgment, anxiety, blah, 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 whatever the resistance is. And quite often it's unconscious because we've been doing it so long and it's so much a part of what we think life is. But meditation, prayer, and journaling help me to soften, open, and deepen my connection to my inner self. And gratitude then is the simplest way to go into that heart. See, the heart opens with love and joy and happiness and fun and laughter. It says, yes, I am this. I want this. Oh my God. Yes, please. Yeah. And then when there's conflict and fear and judgment and rejection, resistance, of course, our hearts close down and we retreat within to ourselves. So for me, the inner journey is feeling safe, loved, and supported so that I can listen to, trust, and follow my inner guidance. And that is me learning how to open my own heart to myself.
Seriously, says gratitude is a wonderful way to let everything else go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And to make space for more yummy people, places, things, and situations. More of what we really want.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's beautiful when you get to that place, which does take time, and it's a different time, you know, everyone's on their own timeline. But it's wonderful when you get to that place when you hit crisis point or stress, and your default is when you're clutching at straws, you're clutching at the things that you have to be grateful for.
Right. Like, yeah, okay. It's hard to let go if we're holding on, you know? Right. Yeah. The timing is always perfect with spirit. Here's the way my guides like to put it. They say, when you co-create with spirit, when you come from a place of gratitude and faith and trust, what you co-create comes out of the blue in the way you least expect it, better than you've imagined possible, revealing your true nature. So as I said earlier, it never comes the way I expected. Never, not once. I've just learned finally, you're not going to see it coming. Don't think you'll see it coming. You will not see it coming. No. Just be patient and peaceful and trusting and have a good time. And then boom, wonderful surprises show up.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a beautiful thing because, you know, when the dust storm settles, you know, the twister, the hurricane, and we get a little later down the road and having that beautiful opportunity to look back and go, oh wow, that's what that was.
That's right. That's exactly right. You see, you know, hindsight is 2020. You know, oh, that's why I needed to go through that. That's why I was putting myself through that. That's why I created that kind of experience. But yes, you see, again, another part of wisdom is it's never about the circumstances themselves. It's about the energy that we're dancing with in that circumstance. And again, is this what I want to bring with me into the future? Or is this what I'm working on making peace with and letting go?
Yeah. And every situation is an opportunity for our own healing as well.
Yeah.
Say with a situation where someone may have been dishonest or where we felt let down,
right.
An opportunity to have a look at our own triggers, you know, because we get triggered all the time when we're faced with a situation that really triggers us on so many different levels, and it's an opportunity for us to look in and go, where am I still hurting? Or what area do I have that still requires healing in that area?
Yes, that's right. That's beautifully said. I mean, I think the thing that we get to learn on this path of healing and holding the space for others to laugh and to cry and to scream and to, you know, whatever they need to do, whatever we need to do, you know, is trusting that the truth does set us free, and that the truth is more loving and more compassionate then we are able to believe is possible in our fear and in our judgment. And it's it's the analogy for me is like the grain of sand in the oyster that creates the pearl, or the great quote from Leonard Cohen, the crack is where the light gets in. We're strongest at the wounded places. Where we are most afraid to go, that's where our power is. That's where our freedom is. That's where our passion is. When people say they don't know what they want, or they don't know what their purpose is, or they don't know why they're on the planet, it's because they haven't gone deeply enough into their pain and fear to make it meaningful, to let it transform them back into the strong and beautiful human being that they're meant to be. Whereas when we're in crisis, there's no bloody choice. You have to dance with what you've called forth, and you have to, find what is the gift for me in this, because I want to grow beyond this. The quote is from Nelson Mandela. He says, "It always looks impossible until it's done." I'm like, yeah, that's right. Your mind can't conceive of why this is your experience, but your heart says, yippee, another opportunity for growth. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And you made a beautiful point there about going deeper within, and facing those fears, or going to depths within yourself that also seem quite maybe intimidating, or we could be a little bit afraid to go there, but it's important to go there.
Right.
Because I think as humans as well, we constantly are seeking to avoid pain. We're constantly avoiding pain.
Right.
That's causing me pain. Don't go there. Oh,
sure.
That causes me.
Sure.
Oh,
sure.
That feeling is not making me feel great. Don't go there.
Right. Yes.
We got to go there.
There, you can run, but you can't hide. Yeah, it's the great line about that. My guides say pain is fear in the body, and fear is pain in the mind. And either way, it's our resistance, which is our temporary illusion of separation or self-judgment. And to remember who we are as spiritual beings, we at some point need to be able to face our fear and pain and change our minds about it, and say, this is a good thing, not a bad thing. This is an opportunity to remember who I am, not to stay stuck with who I thought I was. And it takes courage, it takes humility, it takes asking for help. My goodness, my friend, how many times do we have to learn how? And it's okay. And we've both done that dance with each other here already. Yes, ask for help. We will get lost. We will get overwhelmed.
Yeah. And it's a lot of the times people are scared or fearful to ask for help out of fear of what others might perceive.
Right.
Whether it be weakness, blah blah blah. I don't like that word weakness. I find it's a weak word.
Well, yeah, it's not so sexy, I know.
Because one, there's no such thing as weak. I prefer the word vulnerable, because everyone's allowed to be vulnerable. Everyone's allowed
that's right. Yes.
But it's also having the courage to put your hand up and say, I'm extremely vulnerable right now, and I need to maybe offload, shed, release, and share some of what I'm going through, so I can get it out. And get rid of it.
That's right. I mean, this is a beautiful subject, because especially between men and women, where of course women are naturally much more emotionally expressive than men are, and men are more naturally in our bloody heads, and stubborn and resistant and these kinds of things, speaking from much personal experience over here. And yet, I mean, I'm a very emotional human being, you know. I've done acting and music, and I'm mad for anything that gives me an outlet, novels and films and music, to step into the story and the emotion and the energy of, you know, being on the hero's journey. Stephen and I were talking about this recently. And it's the same, of course, for everyone, women and men. Women are much more in their hearts and in their spirit because being more emotionally vulnerable just by nature, you know? And so that requires great strength, obviously. I think women are much stronger than men in general, emotionally, but men need that connection within ourselves in order to be able to love, to give and receive love as well. So, you know, men have something to teach and to offer to women. Women have something to teach and to offer to men. And like we're saying about relationship, we've been living in this time where there's been such a huge battle, denial, limited idea of what relationship can be, should be, is supposed to be, etc. And yet here we are in the midst of this spiritual awakening, which is mostly, from my experience, women being aware of what's happening energetically, spiritually, emotionally on the planet, and men still in a lot of pain and denial and confusion. And, you know, so there's, you know, there's all this madness going on in the world about who am I? How do I give and receive love? What is a good relationship? Should I be in a monogamous relationship? Should I be in a dozen different relationships? You know, et cetera, et cetera. Everyone's doing everything they can find, but it's uncharted territory. And yet I do believe that as we know how to love ourselves, as I said earlier, and how to let God, Spirit, Source love us, then we're better able to give and receive love with other people. But there's a lot of emotional healing. And so when we're able to be emotionally vulnerable, this is what I want to say to what you said, then we can set ourselves free and we can hold that space with each other to help each other to set ourselves free. But if we're in denial and control and judgment, no healing, no freedom.
Yeah, and no growth.
Right. You know, and it's messy and sloppy and silly and foolish and vulnerable and all of those things. You know, I've learned to make my peace with that. It's just, that's the way it's going to be. Just be okay with that, you know?
Yeah. And just to go back on relationships as well, Lou, you know, we accept the love we think we deserve too. And it comes back down to relationship with self. So if our relationship with self is not deep, that will very well reflect in our relationships with others. If we, you know, struggle to have deep, authentic, fulfilling relationships in our romantic relationships with our partners, friendship, for as deep as what that is, you know, it's a mirror of how deep we're willing to go within ourselves.
Right. Exactly, hun. Well said. And if we will go to the depth of ourself every day without kicking and screaming, exactly. What a concept. What a concept. Hey, God, I'm here again. And here's all my bullshit. And here's all my love and light. Let's dance. Here it is. I'm naked before you. Let's get on with it. You know, then it's God's going like, all right, now we can get going here. You know, we can speed this up a bit.
Yeah.
You know, whereas when we have to paint ourselves into a corner and you know, lose our keys, lose our bank account, lose our relationship, lose our mind, whatever we have to lose, you know, to have that humbling and awakening moment of realization, that is the moment when we stop running from ourselves. You see?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I'm just saying, let's go there willingly. Instead of being dragged kicking and screaming, let's, you know, again, this is my ideal of the triangle here. Here's my partner. She's honest and loving and responsible. I'm the same. We have a loving higher power. Let's see what we can create together. Let's see what we can discover together. Let's see what we still need to heal in ourselves and with each other in this deep way. So yeah, that's my hope and my prayer, that more of those conscious relationships are happening in the world, and that I get to be a part of that.
And you used another beautiful word as well, Lou, that I love, which is create. The actual words that you said was let's create. And for many of us, and when I say us, it's because I'm just speaking generally and collectively without singling any individual out specifically.
Sure.
I'm not thinking about anyone specific, it's just more of a general statement. But
sure.
you know, a lot of people in relationships just coexist, not co-create. But that coexisting is an element of creation, but not from a conscious perspective, not from a conscious energy standpoint. It's a subconscious, I'm just a coexisting, I'm unhappy, I don't know why. This is just life, this is just the reality, and this is just what I'm going to accept. And that's a very below the line vibration. But when we breathe ourselves, or force ourselves, or allow ourselves, more so for better words, to start operating above the line, then we co-create. We have the opportunity and the power to recreate and co-create every day, again and again and again, the loving and intimate relationships that we'd like to have, if it is with that person or whoever, or friendships or whatever the cases might be.
Absolutely. That's well said. That's beautifully said. I mean, again, there's no denying that life on earth is relationship, period. And it's like, who do you want to be with? How do you want to be with them? What do you believe you can give and receive in that relationship? What do you want to give and receive in that relationship? As my guides say, we're spiritual beings having a human experience. And this is the lifetime that we begin to really realize what that can mean for us. So I'm massively, hopeful, optimistic, starry-eyed, delighted, grinning, giggling at all the infinite possibilities that we are going to experience, that right now we don't even, in our wildest dreams, imagine are possible. I mean, we've been, here's again the quote from my guides: you've created a dream that's so real, you've forgotten that you've created it, and you've forgotten that it's a dream. And now we're starting to, like we're saying, we've looked in the world, and we've looked at each other, and we've tried everything 1,000 times, and we keep going, no, that's not my answer. So that's thrown us deep into our own soul and spirit, thank you, God. And we're going, oh, that's my answer. Go within rather than go without. Live from the inside out, not just the outside in. These kinds of realizations. And as we're doing this, then, my guides say we're like islands of light in a sea of darkness, and we're going, oh, I think there's more possibilities. I think there's more resources. I think there's more opportunities. I think this is true, that we're living in this magical time, and I'm an awakening, miraculous, magical being of love and light. Wow, that's fun. That's exciting. So, I'm just saying we're all going through this initiation, whether we're conscious of it or in complete denial of it. It really is just irrelevant as far as I'm concerned at this point. It's happening. I know it's happening in my life, in your life, and many other people's lives. So it's just, God is saying, okay, I'm the map. You're in the territory. I will show you how to take the next step, but you need to be on my vibration. You need to be on that vibration of love and trust and gratitude, and then I'll open the door that you can't see is right before you. So I feel like relationship is going to just transform in this world.
Yeah.
Yeah, baby.
I love it. Lou, thank you so much for jumping on. I always love our chats online and offline, and you're a beautiful human being,
Thanks for that. Thank you. Love you too.
We're going to connect again soon. Absolutely. Great. And continue the dialogue. So
thank you so much.
Have a beautiful day in Ireland.
Thanks, sweetheart. Can I say one thing before we go? So
Absolutely.
I was remembering that I did an hour-long group here from 10 to 11, and that seemed to work for my friends in Australia last year. So I want to put that out that I'm going to do that again starting Monday. So 10 a.m. my time, whatever time that is. But I'll do a post and I'll send it to your page. And so for all our friends in Australia, maybe they'll like to drop in and have a chat with me for an hour each morning, your evening. So we'll see how that goes.
Okay, beautiful.
Yeah,
Definitely share it in Healing Networks, 100%.
yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Lou. We'll talk soon.
You're welcome, darling. Thanks a million.